Subscribe or they will haunt you. Which fictional character's death have you not gotten over? Mike from Breaking Bad. Involved in a bad life, but the love for his granddaughter. Heartbreaking. Leon the professional. At least he went out as a badass. This is from Matilda. Boom. Not sure if any of y'all have read Artemis Fowl, but Julius Root's death still gets me. Leslie Burke from Bridge to Terabithia. This one f***ed me up as a kid. I was depressed for days. As a teen, I rented a DVD from the local store. It was very common to find cheap rentals of bootleg movies in India at the time. The label on the DVD clearly said Narnia, but it turned out to be this movie. I felt terrible for days after having watched it. Edit. Just realizing how many of you poor souls were traumatized as a child by a group of bootleggers who mistook Bridge to Terabithia for the Chronicles of Narnia. Prince Caspian. R.I.P. Herschel's from The Walking Dead. Koro Sensei. Edit. Didn't expect that a lot of people would actually share my sentiments. I would like to add this was one of the 2 moments I almost cried because of an anime. I mean, we all knew it was gonna happen, but yeah, it was very sad, yet also pretty nice as he dies glad that his students managed to kill him. L. Lloyd from Death Note. My boy. How C. Washington from Orange is the New Black. That and the scene from the final episode with Pensatiki. I went from hating Doggett in the first few seasons to actually shedding tears in her final scene. Pensatiki hit me much harder than I would have expected. The entire final season was a non-stop tearjerker. But Taki and Maritza's endings just destroyed me. Jason Grace from Heroes of Olympus. I haven't got to his death, but for me, it's got to be Zoa Nightshade or maybe Bob. Bianca's death is sad, but it's less her death that gets me, and more how it affects Nico. David Tennant as Doctor Who. I don't want to go. I loved Matt Smith too, don't get me wrong, but I still shed a few tears anytime I watched that episode. For me it was the 9th Doctor, and how he had to explain to Rose what was going on. That he took too much energy in to survive, just when they were falling in love. And before I go, don't say that, Rose. Before I go, I just wanna tell you you were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you know what? Rose shakes her head. So was I. Whoosh. Artax. Edit. Wow. Thank you for the awards. Also yup, we are all scarred for life because of this scene. Duchess Satine from the Clone Wars. She was this close from escaping, and she was mercilessly killed for the sole purpose of hurting Obi-Wan. It hurts more when you watch it a second time. What was his name? Wash. The pilot in Firefly. What killed me was Zoe's response to Kayla's question. The crack in her voice when she says, "Wash ain't common" just breaks my heart. She's been a widow for all of 2 minutes. But she's a damn soldier, and has to hold it together to get her people to safety. Mufasa. This is a childhood trauma for so many kids. As a child you think your parents are indestructible. They're immortal, they can't die, and will always protect you. And then you have this little lion baby who runs up to the corpse of his father and just doesn't even understand at first. And then you realize that the big, strong lion dad is dead. Wolverine in Logan. Even though I knew it was coming, I lost my shit right there in the theater. BT7274. Edit. As quite a few have mentioned below, we could technically argue BT isn't dead due to the binary message at the end of the Master campaign. But we all know we lost a part of ourselves at the end of that game. Protocol 3. Protect the pilot. Trust me. Cade 6, I'm coming home ace. How's your sister? Cade went out like a legend. Ragnar. 1986 Optimus Prime. The wife from Up. Yeah, damn. That movie didn't waste any time in tearing your heart out. Arthur Morgan. And Lenny. I miss Lenny. Honestly, Hosea's death was the most heartbreaking for me. It all went downhill from when he died. My horse, Gary. When Arthur whispers thank you. The dog in I'm Legend. Absolutely heartbreaking to watch that scene. Some people were like, oh, it's just a dog. Like, no. Sam was the only thing Robert had for years to keep him sane. She was literally his best friend. Her death represented the end of his family. After he had to kill her, he was completely and utterly alone. So heartbreaking. Luten, Uncle Iroh's son. Avatar: The Last Airbender. While we didn't see his death firsthand, I felt like I was mourning a son of my own when Iron sang that song. Still tears me up. Maximus from Gladiator. I would say his family. He got exactly the death he wanted after he was betrayed. Revenge, and it being in front of all of Rome was a plus. Then immediately back with his family in the aft. Sirius Black. He lived in an abusive household for almost 17 years. Then fought dark wizards for a few years. Then put in Azkaban. Without a trial, and accusing him of associating with his abusive family he ran away from, and killing the family he ran towards, and tormented with dementors for 12 years. 1 year of reliving his worst memories and then bam. Dies. He deserved a good life. I remember reading this bit when the book first came out, and feeling crushed for that exact reason. And for Harry losing such an important parent figure and connection to his own parents. Kelsier from the Mistborn trilogy. He was my favorite character and I really did not expect his death. I was waiting for him to come back, because I really could not believe that he was indeed dead. I wanted to continue the trilogy after the first book, but missed Kelsier too much. A few years later I finally finished the second and third book, and have to say, they were great, even without him. Brandon Sanderson just did a really good job with this series. Finnick was the saddest death in the Hunger Games. It happened so quickly in the books that I had to read it over and over to process what happened. I was not happy. The sniper from Saving Private Ryan, he was a guy that was doing his absolute best and gave it his all. When the tower was bombed that he was in, my heart sunk, but that's war. Edit. OMG, thank you all so much. Thank you for sharing all of your stories too. I've been sitting in bed reading them all morning. The first time I watched Saving Private Ryan, it was in my sophomore year in history class and I cried. All of the deaths in that movie were heartbreaking. Grandma Coco from the Disney movie Coco. That film got me weeping from start to end. Brooks from The Shawshank Redemption. Rufio. This was, and I cannot stress this enough, the least bangarang thing to happen in the history of film. Who's from Full Metal Alchemist. I really liked him. His Japanese fan apparently also died from cancer this year. It's a terrible day for Rain. Shireen Baratheon. There were brutal deaths, and then there was Shireen. A Baron Martel. At the moment. Bobby Singer. Crowley. Hank Schrader. You're the smartest guy I've met, and you're too stupid to see he made up his mind 10 minutes ago. Stoic. They did handle his death very well, with the entire funeral scene immediately after the battle. And Hiccup's first reaction felt so human, so real. Bob from Stranger Things. Charlie from Lost. But hey, it's not Penny's boat. Guess I'm getting too old. Littlefoot's Momyo. Probably the saddest kids movie death ever. It was way too much. I felt like I lost my own mom that day. Mordin Salas. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong. The dogs in Where the Red Fern Grows. Jesus, I had completely forgotten about this. And that brought back memories of Old Yeller as well. John Coffey from The Green Mile. Please don't put the mask on me. I'm scared of the dark. Data. I was handling it okay, then his brother started singing a halting and broken version of Blue Skies, and I was just crushed. Edit. It came out 20 years ago. Is it still a spoiler?